What's up guys, Chemistry here back in the video. Today's video is what if Cody wasn't mauled by a bear? So this idea was by Charles-XE40W and Rom Drama. Thank you for the suggestion. Let's begin. I think it's pretty obvious because who goes home, and it's clearly Heather. Because the main reason Cody got voted off in the original was because it was a pity vote. Because he was too injured to play. Which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you would think that Cody just gets removed from the game. But no matter what, he doesn't get mauled by a bear here. You could argue Beth gets mauled by the bear, but I think it's just very unpredictable to say Beth gets mauled by a bear. So I think the first vote would be Heather. So in episode 10, this is going to change a lot of things now. So episode 10 rolls around, and here we have... Usually, this is where Beth gets out because of the Tiki statue. And I think this would still work because I think Beth would have enough false determination without Heather's influence to reveal the statue, so she still gets voted off. Episode 11. This is the episode where who you can trust. So it would be Duncan and DJ, Gwen and Cody. I think it's pretty obvious that Duncan and DJ would win because Cody would be a worse at holding the rope. Then again, Cody would probably have something primal in him, like he did in World Tour when he hit Duncan, so I could see them still winning the challenge. The rest of the challenge would be Lindsay and then Trent. I think Trent's not going to the infirmary. Owen, and then Bridget and Jeff, then Harold, Courtney and Sadie. Courtney still gets annoyed by Sadie, and then it would be Harold and Bridget, and then Gwen, Cody and Lindsay, and I think Cody would also get sent to the infirmary. And finally, it would be Gwen and Lashawna. DJ still gets a new bunny. He gets his mask lifted up. And because of that, they still get rid of Sadie. Episode 12, this is where we have basic straining. So Cody would still want to impress Gwen. At this point, Gwen and Trent, they're probably a couple. They're probably going out or very close. Lashawna, Gwen will be together, and I think they'd have Cody, so they're like a little four-person alliance. And Cody also has friends with Owen, so what I'm thinking here is we could just skip to the end of this one where it's usually Gwen wins the challenge. Even if Cody did worse than Heather, I still think Gwen's winning this challenge, and Harold's rigging the votes against Courtney. Episode 13. X-Tremor Torture. So we can skip to the end of this one because this is normally where Heather does the driving, as it's Heather that drives, but now it will be Cody. So because Heather's top doesn't come off and Howard was really good at this challenge originally, I think the Killer Bass actually win the challenge. So the Killer Bass win this challenge. Now this is a tough elimination because I have no way of knowing who gets voted off. But Gwen and Trent wouldn't want to vote for Lashawna, and they wouldn't want to vote for Cody, which either leaves them with Owen or Lindsay. But Lashawna only voted for Trent in the original because of Gwen, on top of the fact that she believed that he cheated on her, and I don't think at this point Lashawna would vote for them. So it would either be between Owen and Lindsay, and I do think that they would go for Lindsay, because she's definitely the least connected in the group. And on top of that, she did work with Heather. Granted, I think after a few episodes, I think Lindsay would realize Heather was manipulating her. But I think ultimately, even though they like Lindsay, I think they would want to keep Cody happy a bit longer and keep Owen around. Episode 14, Guys vs. Girls. So I think the opposite would happen, where Lashawna would just make a girls' alliance, but it's an elimination. So the merge. Merge day, the merge cast. So bye-bye Killer Bass, bye-bye Gophers. So Lashawna still wins the challenge, and everyone votes for Eva. And I think Lashawna would just add Izzy into the alliance, which means they also get Trent and Cody. They also get Harold. So episode 16 rolls around. This is the episode where Heather normally has the key, so it would be between Cody or Harold. I don't know who wins. I'm going to say Harold has immunity here. Because he did rig the votes against Courtney, that's pretty villainous. And Harold's probably closest to villain. So Harold wins immunity. And this annoys Duncan. He wants to get rid of Harold. So Harold votes for Duncan. But Duncan can't do his Bridget play yet. So I feel like Owen and Izzy are dating. They're together. Gwen and Trent. And Bridget would want to keep Jeff around. So I feel like she would convince LaShawna to get rid of Duncan. But LaShawna realizes there are 3 couples at this point. Right? So there's 3 couples. And LaShawna would go to the other guys, to Duncan, DJ, Cody, and Harold, and says, look, Cody and Harold are pretty close, and this is, I know, like, LaShawna and Harold aren't a couple at this point. They're not a couple, so she says there are 3 couples, we need to eliminate the couples. And Duncan and Harold wouldn't like to work together, though, because they don't like each other, first of all. But I think Duncan would accept, knowing full well that he definitely knows if he gets rid of Harold at this point, that for the game of his strategy, that they're definitely losing the challenge. Cody says he's cool with the vote as long as it's not Gwen. And he wouldn't want it to be Trent either, but he definitely isn't going to vote for Gwen. And he doesn't want to vote for Owen because they're friends. So what would happen is LaShawna would get the girls, and I think that they would decide in the alliance to vote for someone who lost their key, and that was DJ and Bridget. So I think LaShawna, Cody could probably get his key, and then I think here she would want to keep Bridget around, so I think she would get Gwen and Izzy to vote for DJ. But I think this is where she also gets Gwen and Trent, Izzy, Cody, as they probably have a majority at this point. But LaShawna would realise that they need to get rid of the couples. So she gets Duncan and Harold. So Duncan can't vote for Harold, so Harold votes for Duncan. The other 4, though, these 4 come to an agreement and decide to vote for Izzy. And LaShawna tells the girls, that's 4 and Izzy, tells the girls, vote for DJ, so that's 4 on DJ. Jeff wouldn't vote for DJ, so he votes... Who would he vote for? Probably Owen. So it's... Who would Jeff vote for? Jeff, Owen, and Trent, though. That's 4 votes. That's like 3 votes. So LaShawna would... I think Trent would vote for an Owen. They're cool at this point, so I think they would vote for Jeff. Jeff votes for Trent, and I think DJ go 4 votes DJ, 4 votes Izzy. Trent would vote for Izzy, that's 5. LaShawna tells Owen to vote for Trent, that's 5. So 5-5. Bridget votes for Izzy. I think everyone would just vote for Izzy here. She's a returning player, and I think it'd be unfair for her to going forward for stay in the game. Episode 17, this is Hide Me Sneaky. So LaShawna was still immediately from the best hiding spots, and she has the Girls Alliance, which also means they get Gwen and Trent. Trent and Cody. They wouldn't have Jeff because he's still with Duncan, but I think Bridget would try to convince them. So these 5 are in an alliance. And Duncan wouldn't make the guys' alliance because there are more guys than girls. Because he knew they were being outnumbered. So I think what would happen is Owen and DJ fall off the roof. And I think Harold and Cody would win immunity. So I think what would happen is Lashana would vote for Duncan. These five. Bridget was for Duncan. Gwen's kind of cool with Duncan, so she wouldn't want to vote for him. So I think what would happen is Lashana votes for Duncan. Duncan, Jeff, and DJ, they're kind of a trio. Vote for Trent. Vote for would want to vote. Duncan can't do his Bridget way, so he votes for Trent. It's 3 on Trent. But Lashana still has that secret alliance with the singles because they don't. None of them know yet about them voting for each other, and they'll just add Owen. They don't add Owen because he can't keep a secret. So I'm thinking they just add Owen in this as well. So I think they would probably choose to get rid of. This is where Duncan would suggest to get rid of Bridget. And I think Lashana wouldn't like this though, but I think Lashana would accept, knowing full well that she has Gwen and Trent and Cody. So she has about 3 to 4 votes in her pocket. But she points out to Duncan that Jeff is a bigger threat and would definitely win a popularity contest. But I still think that everyone would vote for Bridget. As even though the Guys Alliance doesn't exist, I think here without the Guys Alliance, she would realize that Harold obviously doesn't like Duncan, and Duncan doesn't like Harold. And I think they would decide to stay together for one more time and choose to get rid of Jeff because they would want to keep Gwen. She'd want to keep Gwen happy. Duncan and DJ wouldn't want to vote for Jeff. And with the exception of DJ not voting for Jeff, Lashana still has these 4 votes to solidify Jeff being eliminated. So she would tell Gwen and Trent and Bridget to vote for Duncan. And I think they would get rid of Jeff. But at this point, I think Bridget's very suspicious. I think at this point they know that LaShawn is probably not on their side. But I think they get rid of Jeff. Episode 18 is the bikes craze. So Owen wipes out? So DJ wipes out and Gwen. Bridget would wipe out in the first round, similar to Jeff, as she would forget about the bolts. And Lashana would still wipe out, even though she wouldn't go with Izzy the entire time. I still think she wouldn't be that good here. So we get on to the second round. We know Duncan and Owen wipe out. We should need to figure out between these 3 who cross the finish line. So Trent is where we're going to make him bike, so he would cross. So between Cody and Harold, I think Harold would wipe out before Cody, as I think Cody would cross before him. And I think due to the unfair ruling, I think Harold's just out. So episode 19, Hooker and Screamer is still DJ. There's no need to explain. It's still DJ. Gwen and Trent win immunity, and Cody. Episode 20 is the Animal Buddies Challenge. So Lashana would realize that Cody, Gwen, and Trent would choose each other in the end. So she goes to Duncan and Owen and Bridget and asks them to vote for Trent. Gwen. And Bridget says why should she after she voted for Jeff. And Lashana points out that they are a couple and they would choose each other in the end. And although Bridget is annoyed at Lashana for voting for Jeff, I think Bridget would accept, knowing full well that Gwen and Trent would definitely choose each other in the finale. So I think the person who would win immunity, Gwen would still win the challenge. And I think here, everyone gangs up on these 4 vote for Trent, and the other 3, Lashana tells the other 3. So these 3 would vote for Duncan. Would vote for Lashana, I think. The other 4 vote for Trent. So I think Trent goes. Episode 21, Trial Triathlon. So it would be Duncan and Bridget, Cody and Gwen, Owen and Lashana. So the eating part, Owen and Lashana. The race to Boney Island, I'm going to say it's actually Duncan and Bridget. Remembering actually, no, Duncan and Bridget. So the eating challenge, Owen and Bridget. Remembering the elimination order, obviously, race to Boney Island, Bridget and Owen. And remember the assurance, Duncan and Lashana. And Bridget and Owen would now have immunity. So I think they would actually be immune. So Owen wins the first part of the eating challenge, and then it's the race to Boney Island. So I think Gwen and Cody, and then remember the assurance, Duncan and Lashana. And I think the person they would choose to eliminate would probably be Owen. Because Owen's the biggest threat. And in this timeline, he's the most popular, most favourite with the popularity contest. Episode 22 is still Lashana. Episode 23, Mr. Coconut was coming to the fray. Bye bye, Mr. Coconut. Episode 24, there's no need to explain Mr. Coconut. I think here are the ideas, so it's Cody and Duncan, Gwen and Bridget. I think Gwen and Bridget would get a lot faster than Duncan and Cody. Because I think Duncan and Cody would actually work pretty well together. Because the guys have a map originally and only lose because of Owen. But because Owen's not around, I think Duncan and Cody would win immunity. And I think Gwen and Bridget would obviously choose to get rid of Bridget. Episode 25. Episode 25 is I Triple Dog Dare You. And the dares are around Owen. There's no knowing what dares would have gotten, but it would be around Owen this time. So going off that, I think Cody would lose, as he's definitely not as pain resilient as Duncan or Gwen. It's possible Cody could have the resilience that he did in World Tour and have some primal in him, but I don't see that happening. So I think Cody's third place. So Gwen and Duncan. So Cody would have come third place if he didn't get mauled by a bear. So Gwen, Cody, Duncan, Gwen. First two Gwen, Duncan, Gwen, Duncan, Gwen, Duncan, Gwen, 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 Duncan, Gwen. Actually, yeah, Gwen. Tyler, probably Duncan because they're former teammates. Gwen, and Gwen. They each get winning endings. I'm not sure who would win between Gwen and Noah. Duncan. Probably would pick Duncan, but that's it for this video. The guys watching this animation, I think this is what I've gone. If Cody was not mauled by a bear. And yeah, peace, farewell.